Good evening and welcome to Main Street Sports. Ray Halbrook with live stream STL here. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday evening. We've got a great show on tap today here out at La Pachangas in Herculaneum. We've got the gentleman here and our host, my co-host here, Mr. Jeff Whitener. He has made it back. Jeff, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Ray. How are you tonight?
Wonderful.
Really excited to talk to these three coaches. Got a lot of years of experience between them. I doubt that there's much that's happened on the court that they haven't seen before. So getting a chance to pick their brain. And, of course, here with us tonight is our co-host, Scott Latta.
Hey, Scott.
How are you, Scott?
Hey, everyone.
Scott and I are like the peanut butter and jelly of live stream STL, ladies and gentlemen.
Kind of, sort of.
I said I'm the Wally Pip to his Mr. Baseball, Mr. Lou Gehrig.
Oh, thanks. I think. I don't know.
Hey, Lou Gehrig had a pretty decent career. Wally Pip, not so much.
Ray, why don't you tell them who we have here tonight?
We have from the Crystal City Hornets ladies basketball team, Ken Jones. And over to his left and my right here, Tim Winkler from the Grandview Eagles ladies basketball team.
Alma mater.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, all right.
And also to his right, or my right, his left there, Steve McFarland from the Festus Lady Tigers. So thanks, guys, for being on. We appreciate that. And I think you're ready to get things going.
I'm
here,
ready.
Mr.
We're ready. We're
Mr.
going
Whitener.
to grill these guys one at a time at first, Ray, and then we're going to head into some questions, general questions for everybody. But kind of want to talk about the Crystal City girls basketball team first, and Mr. Ken Jones, in addition to being the coach of the girls, the Lady Hornets over at Crystal City, obviously also the athletic director. I want to talk a little bit about last season first. 8-21 overall record, 0-4 in conference play, but Class 2 District 4 champions, and fell to Oran in the sectionals. Lost 3 seniors to graduations last year. I think Molly Clemens led the team in scoring. Ashley DeMazin led the team in steals and assists. And before we go anyplace else, Coach, talk a little bit about that postseason run and how you finished the regular part of the season, the conference play, going into that conference run you guys made.
Well, I mean, what a way to end a season, especially when it was tough. It's a tough year. We were young. I think back to we have a parent meeting most years to start the season. And I remember talking to our parents that year, and the way I ended that meeting, I had said, stick with us on this. This is going to look ugly for a while. And when you've coached as long as we can, you can be pretty honest with them. And I said, if you guys stick with us, it's going to be a lot better looking basketball by the time districts rolls around. And credit to those girls, because it's hard when you're having a tough season to go 4 months and suffer all the losses and keep them coming in and trying to get better every day. And these girls did it. They really did. We were having great practices in February, and when you're having a tough season and you're having good practices in February, you got something.
You got something going on.
Yep.
And for those folks that don't know, Crystal City is Class 2, and they're playing a season full of conference opponents that are all Class 3 at least, along with all your other Class 4 teams you play in non-conference. So they are literally David going against Goliath almost every single night during the regular season. So when they get to district play, finally, I guess playing all of the larger schools was probably a benefit once you finally got to play competition your same size.
Yeah, we're prepared. We're prepared times districts roll around. It's like this Monday we start at the Doe Run tournament. We're playing Lutheran South to start our year. So we're going to play a ton of really good basketball teams that are a lot bigger than us, but it does help us out by the time the end of the year rolls around.
Well, that I'm going to follow up on that later as far as some of these early season tournaments being canceled and playing competition and how that will work too. But obviously a benefit of playing bigger, tougher schools early. But Coach Jones, how long have you been at this now, and how long have you been specifically at Crystal City?
This is my 20th year and all 20 at Crystal City.
All 20 at Crystal City.
That's incredible.
How did that come about? How did you?
Well, I tell you, I was still in college. I was kind of finishing up my last year, and I had a Tuesday and a Thursday off for my classes, and so needed a sub to try and make ends meet. And I went in there and went in to fill out my sub paperwork, and I left a girls basketball coach. So,
they latched onto you. It was like, oh, fresh meat.
Yeah,
There you go.
I was walking through the halls with my Boston Celtics jacket on, and I'm kind of tall, so they put 2 and 2 together, and next thing you know, I was coaching girls basketball.
That's great. That's a great story. How long have you been the AD over there now?
This is my 6th year as athletic director at Crystal.
My goodness. I know I can't even imagine the challenges being both AD and coach. I know that Jason Dreyer down at R7's had to do it on a couple occasions the last couple of years and just about ran him ragged. So I can only imagine. Now, we talked a little bit about this. With all of your duties at Crystal City, including being an athletic director, I mean, what keeps you returning to the sidelines to coach?
Being an athletic director, I'm also the director of transportation, and I enjoy my job, but that's my job. Basketball is a love. Basketball, even though it is work, when I'm in the gym, when I'm at the games, it's not like punching a clock.
Right.
It's a love. I knew in high school that I was going to be a high school basketball coach. I knew it my junior year when I was leaning up against the stage, and they were having one of those days where all the different schools and jobs were coming in, and I'd asked my high school basketball coach my junior year, Denny McHenry, some would know that name, said, Coach, I think I might want to be a basketball coach and a teacher. And he looked at me and he said, 100% no, that's the way you're supposed to go.
Wow.
And I never turned back from it.
That's fantastic. You don't have a lot of people that are juniors in high school at that point that really have a really good idea, set direction of what they want to do. I'm 56 and I'm still not sure what I want to do with my life.
Yep. Hold out.
Oh, just wait a little bit. It'll come to me, right, Scotty? Well, folks, we talked a little bit about Crystal City. We're going to switch gears now and go to a Class 4 school. And Coach McFarland now in his second season at Festus, coaching the girls over there, and he's certainly got some challenges ahead of him this year. Scott, why don't you talk to Coach McFarland about that a little bit?
All right, why don't we take a quick glance at the Festus girls basketball program, the Lady Tigers. Last year, 9-13 overall, 3-1, second in conference play, not bad. Fell to Ursuline in the district semifinals. 1-0 to start the season. You lost 2 players to graduation, including your top scorer, averaging about 15 points a game, and Abby Rickerman, and also she led the team in steals as well. So, Coach, thanks for appearing on the show here today.
Thanks for having me.
It says here you've been in the coaching ranks since 1979.
You guys keep throwing that out there. That came up last year, and it's back there again. Yeah. I'm kind of long in the tooth, I guess, a little bit.
So your second season at Festus. What do you look forward to the most in preparing each season?
Well, I think every year when you come in, you have a new group of kids. You may have a bunch of kids back, but you've always got some new ones coming in, and so your team changes. It's not like in college where you're going out and recruiting and you get all the same kind of kids. Every year you got a different look. And one of the things I've always felt like was a fun challenge is trying to maintain a high standard while you've got seniors leaving and new kids coming in, younger kids moving up, and try to keep the same level of play going.
So did you have to kind of tweak it a little bit? Maybe your philosophy was, hey, we're going to be, a big run-and-gun kind of team, but then based on the recruits you get, maybe you're like, okay, well, maybe I got to transform my philosophy a little bit.
Right. You have to adapt to the kids you have. If you've got a bunch of tall kids, you can do things that you can't
just
do
out there
if you're
block shots.
A bunch of short kids, We used to go to coaching clinics and see some of these coaches come in. I remember going to one, and the guy was talking about his press, and the other coaches were like, how do you do this? Well, I put this kid here. Well, that kid's 6'7". I didn't have anybody 6'7", so we couldn't do the same things he was doing. So you have to be able to adjust and with the kids. And last year we got off to a slow start because I didn't know anything about the kids. I got the job and pretty much got certified and squared away 2 weeks before basketball started, so I really didn't have time to get to know them.
That first year, that's tough.
I knew of Abby, because she had been playing for a couple of years, and I'd been going and watching games and stuff, so I knew what kind of player she was, but I really didn't know any of the other kids. And we ended up being very young, so there was no way to have seen any of them play. So it took a little while. I think every year, the other coaches probably agree with me, I think every year you go in and you set up a program and you play those first couple of games and you throw a little bit of this out and you change this and tweak it, like you said. Mm-hmm. And last year we had to do I don't know if we just tweaked it. Sometimes we grabbed a hold of it and turned it real hard.
All right, maybe a little steer wrestling there?
Yeah, maybe.
All right. So we kind of alluded to you lost Abby Rickerman to graduation. Who are some of the players you have that you're counting on to maybe step up and fill some of the roles that she had on your team? And, how's your backcourt shaping up?
Well, of course, Abby was our leader. She was our only returning senior. We had one senior come out that hadn't played at all in high school, and she played a role for us, but Abby was our leader. So we needed to have somebody step up. Last year, Kenzie Benak stepped up, made all-conference, all-district for us. We were looking forward to getting a little bit more out of her. She was just a sophomore last year, and then we lost her.
Injury?
Very first volleyball game.
Oh.
Knee injury. So, but we have 6 players back with varsity experience. One thing that I had to keep reminding myself last year also, like I say, after Abby, all of our girls were young. I had one junior, and the rest of them were freshmen and sophomores. So now those girls are sophomores and juniors, and just the transition being another year older and another year more experienced really has made a difference with them. We had one girl that didn't get to play last year, Josie Allen. She was a freshman last year. She had tore her knee up in the summertime. So she dressed and warmed up with us and did a few easy drills in practice all year and hung around, but she never got to play. So I told her, I said, every time I do an interview, I'm going to call you my red shirt, so.
Nice.
But we expected a lot from her. She is a coach's daughter, and she's very knowledgeable about the game. Some of the other girls that we had were Emily Holt, was a sophomore last year. She's a junior. Sam Helbrook's a junior. The returning, our senior this year, is Tristan Folk. Mm-hmm. She kind of got tossed into the point position last year.
Oh, that's no small task.
She
right
wasn't real thrilled about it, but she did it. And of course, this year with Josie coming back, she's much more relaxed out there. She said, "I'm looking forward to going out there and having a backcourt teammate that knows what's going on and take a little pressure off of me."
And some of those kids who had a year under your system kind of understand now the verbiage and everything and how things are going to flow. So that's got to be a little bit of a feather in your cap.
We didn't get to do very much in the off season because of COVID, but when we came in over the summer and we worked on a few things, I wanted to change maybe what we were calling something, or get a little bit more like call something Tiger, or something a little more towards the school name, and okay. And they were like, "No, what did we call it last year? We're calling it the same thing."
Hey,
okay.
With that the KISS philosophy?
Yeah.
All right, I think that's good. Jeff, you want to go ahead and take it home with the Grandview?
I just wanted to follow up with Coach. With Benak, you lost your leading rebounder, as you said. Now, who are maybe some of those girls that maybe you mentioned that you're expecting to hopefully fill that gap as well?
Well,
on the boards?
We actually played last Thursday, and the night before, one of the reasons I didn't sleep real well was trying to figure out who was going to help us on the boards a lot. We'd been doing a pretty good job in practice, but it's different going against another,
Sure.
Our JV team obviously isn't as tall as another varsity team would be. But again, Emily Holt, she's probably our tallest player at 5'9.5" maybe. She pulled down 8 rebounds for us the other night. Sam Helbrook, she pulled down 8 rebounds. Actually, my little point guard, Josie Allen, pulled down 7. And I had another sophomore that played last year as a freshman that got 7 rebounds. So those girls will all help us on the boards, I think. They're all very dedicated.
And rebounding being about a heart a lot of times and desire more than anything else. If you can spread it around like that, kind of a rebound by committee almost.
Now, when you said that about Kinsey, I can't replace Kinsey.
Right.
The thing with Kinsey is she's fast, and she'd get that rebound, and she'd beat people down the floor with it. We didn't have to have an outlet pass. A lot of times she had the board and went, and I said, we can replace her, teach people to play defense, but we got nobody else with her speed and her abilities that can do that one thing that she did so well for us.
Sure. Understand that. This next gentleman I'm not familiar with, so I'm really looking forward to this Mr. Winkler coming into the conference. Now, your coaching career, you've kind of migrated up the highway a little bit.
A little bit, yes.
Gone up. Now you're up in Grandview from where you started off. And just to recap, and of course you weren't there last year, the Grandview girls were 17-8 overall, 3-2 in conference play. They lost to Steelville in the Class 3 District 3 championship game. Steelville had some just 2 incredible boys and girls teams. We got to see those last year. I believe, as of when I wrote this up, 1-2 so far this season?
That's correct.
Okay. You lost 4 seniors, I believe, to graduation, and although you weren't familiar, you didn't coach them, they were 4 very important players on the team. Losing Faust and just a bunch of them. Sarah Faust led the team in scoring and assists. Haley Harlow led the team in rebounding. Both those players graduated. Coach, for those folks that are watching up here in Jefferson County, tell them a little bit about your background and coaching experience and where you've come from.
Okay, first I want to say something about these guys. I got to have notes in front of me. These guys without notes, so I guess I'm showing my age there. I started off at St. Vincent coaching the boys. I was there from 85 to 93, I believe it was, and Bruce Valvor was my assistant for every year but one of those. And I think you guys are going to ask about him, so hopefully we've got enough time tonight to tell you a few stories about him. Yeah. From there, I went to Oak Ridge for a couple of years. I went south, Oak Ridge for a couple of years, and I got out of coaching for a little bit. Then my next job was at Valley Catholic, St. Jen, so I started coming up this way a little bit. Stepped away for a while. Got rehired at St. Vincent to coach the girls back in 16-17. Just did that for one season, and now here I am at Grandview.
So how did that come about? You decided to get back into coaching. How did they pull you into the ranks over there? Our friend, the AD over Don Jeffries, he's obviously gone to the well, and this year, boys and girls, found 2 veteran coaches to lead his charges over there. How did that come about with Don?
Well, I'd had the itch to kind of get back into it. In fact, I called this guy about his boys' job when I heard it was open. I talked with Dusty Wingert, who had coached the boys at Perryville.
Right.
And he had told me he heard, this was probably mid-February, early February, he'd heard that the job may be open at Grandview. So I went ahead and contacted Don and asked him about it. And this was after the season had ended. And he told me that there was nothing officially open yet, but there was a good chance it would be. And he said, if you want, I can give you a holler when something becomes official either way.
Sure.
So I said, sure, if you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate that. Well, he did, and we set up an interview, and I guess about maybe 7 to 10 days later after that interview, he called and said that he was going to take my name to the board and recommended that they hire me. And
excellent.
That's what they did, so here I am.
So with your years of coaching experience, what is it? What keeps pulling you back into it?
What's in your blood, it's hard to get it out. It really is, and kind of like Coach Jones was saying, it's I'm no longer teaching, I'm just doing the coaching, but when I was coaching, as a younger coach, basketball was it, and teaching was secondary.
Sure.
As I got older, I started to realize I had it backwards. But now, it's just to get back and try to be a positive influence on some young kids. And, I feel if I can just be a positive influence on one of them, then I've accomplished something. And
Sure.
if I could have that influence on just one kid per season. So, I miss that. My boys have grown, and I don't know if they would say I was a positive influence on them or not, but
Give them a few years, they will.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
I understand that completely. With both of my kids finally being empty nesters, I've devoted a lot more time now to doing this kind of stuff and working with the high school kids on my level,
right?
Because I just enjoy it. Enjoy being around to help. I don't know, keep me young, I guess.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you start to learn, looking at my phone here, you start to learn all the acronyms, what they mean, and just it does keep you young.
Absolutely.
Really
Well, I guess there's two ways of looking at this, and I guess maybe it's probably a positive thing that you're coming in this year, losing the seniors that they lost last year, and obviously Grandview's been on a great run of success for the last 7 or 8 years through various coaching regimes over there, really turn that program into something nice. But, in a way, it's a fresh start. You can the chalkboard is clean, and you can go with what you have there. And I don't know if that makes it easier. I mean, I'm sure that the challenge is there, getting to know the kids and everything else. And did you have the same issues this summer that some of the other new coaches coming in, where because of COVID, you couldn't get together maybe as much and maybe get to know the team like you would want to?
Right. We weren't allowed to do anything until July. Right. So we were able to get in the gym, I think it was 3 times a week is what we were able to get into. And some of the girls play softball or, volleyball camps and different things like that. So, we very seldom do we have everybody that would have liked to have been in there every evening. But, I got to know the girls a little bit. They got to know me. And things have been going really well in practice so far. We lost 3 days to COVID back in the second week of the preseason, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. But lucky enough, it was early enough where we still had some time, unlike Coach Jones, who just now got his girls eligible with practices. Right. But it's been a very, very enjoyable experience. I mean, his girls have come in, they've worked hard. Like you said, kind of a clean slate with me being new and a lot of them new to the varsity level.
Sure.
So, it would be nice to have a lot of experience and the talent I've heard that they had last year coming back. But like you said, sometimes, and again, like Coach McFarland was saying, that they're kind of set in their ways with their own coach.
Exactly.
And with somebody new coming in and these girls,
it's easier for you to kind of put your stamp on it, with fresh team coming in.
Yeah, I get to call the plays when I want to call them, and okay, that's what we'll call them.
You got Eagle 1 or Eagle Blue, something Grandview oriented, like.
There you go.
But. So, obviously, you lost a lot of leadership on the floor, too. Who is in the process or who has emerged maybe as a leader on the floor for you guys?
Well, really, we have 3. 2 of them on the floor and one who we're using as our 6th man. We've got Megan Jones, who is a senior. Mm-hmm. And Megan's an excellent student, and excellent student in the classroom and excellent student of the game. I mean, she's picking up things really quick. And she helps the other girls, understand their role and what they're supposed to do in a certain situation. She's a senior. We've got Natalie Moore, who's a junior, who's doing a real good job too. She's a big softball player, from what I've been told, and I know basketball is her second love at best. But she does a nice job. It's not like she cheats basketball. She does a nice job for us. She works really hard. And then we got Michaela Sessons, who She's only 5'4" or something like that, 5'5", 5'6". Not real quick, but she is so smart. I mean, the younger girls have known that if the coaches are out there coaching something on the floor and they have a question, go to Michaela and ask her, and Michaela will answer that question for you. And 9 times out of 10, maybe more than that, she's going to be right.
Well, that's a great asset to have.
Yes, it definitely is. And I've told her that that hasn't gone unnoticed. That I'll see you talking to kids, and I see you pointing out there to the floor, so I know you're talking about something that's going on out there. She's really a pleasure to have on the team. And like I said, the coaches are busy. They have a question. The girls know who to go to.
we're certainly looking forward to. I'm not sure when we have Grandview on the schedule, but
that
will be coming up.
Remains to be what do you call that?
Remains to
be seen. That's what it is.
That's why Ray doesn't do the talking. That's why he just pushes the button over there. We normally don't let him talk, but
oh Lord,
I'll tell you what,
it's been a long day.
What I want to do is I'd like to go to break, and I'm gonna give Coach Winkler a minute to think about his best Bruce Valeroy story that he can tell us. Because we'll explain a little bit about that on the way back. But folks, we appreciate you joining us tonight. You're watching the Main Street Sports Show on live stream STL.
Jefferson College has affordable degree options for students of all ages. Plus, register before December 11th and you could win a $250 book scholarship or other great prizes. Jefferson College provides safe on-site and online options and many exciting career pathways like humanities, business, social science and public service, math, physics and technology, and science and health. Students who know, go Jeffco. Enroll now at jeffco.edu.
Brian Waits at Waits Financial Services, your safe money guy for your retirement dollars. Planning on retiring or already retired? Give Brian a call at Waits Financial Services at 314-374-6713 or bwaits at woodburyfinancial.net. Waits Financial Services, bringing a team approach to help your business and family needs for over 28 years.
For fine Mexican cuisine,
a family atmosphere,
any place to watch your local sport teams. Come out to La Pechangas. Check out our 4 locations: Arnold, Herculaneum, Crystal City, and Monterrey. Come out to La Pechanga.
Welcome back to our next segment of Main Street Sports. Before we get started with that, wanted to let everybody know what's going on this week. We have a full week, no joke, Jeff Whitener, a full week of basketball.
Does this start the week? Is Sunday the first day of the week or the last day?
This is the start of the week today, yeah.
All right, here we go.
But we've got a lot going on here. We're going to be over at the Steig Horse Tournament, 4:45 and 6:45 tomorrow night. Windsor takes on Park Hill Central, and DeSoto takes on Hillsboro. That'll be over on our Roku, our Fire TV, and on the app as well, the TKDS Sports app. Tuesday, we have the Festus Tigers taking on the Seckman Jaguars. Our first look at the Seckman Jaguars ever. At 4:45, that's Tuesday. We'll have that, and then we'll also have...
That's also at the Steig Horse
Tournament.
Yeah,
that's the Steig Horse Tournament, too. We'll be jumping, and as soon as we get done with that, we got to jump right back over here for the coach's box. We're going to try to get that started by 8 o'clock, and then...
it may end at midnight.
It may end at midnight, that's correct. There's a lot of truth to that, man. We've had some late ones here, but they've been good. They've been fun, and then we have our second round of the Doe Run Classic and the championship on December 9th and 11th. We'll be out there. I'll have Jim Powers with me calling both of those games, and I think you might be coming out too, Jeff. You going to come out?
On Wednesday, I should be able to.
Okay, so Wednesday. And then Friday we'll have the championship, and then we'll have the final, let's see, the championship night, not sure, I think it's actually afternoon, of the Steig Horse Tournament on Saturday. I don't have a graphic for that, but if you're interested in getting a part of that, we're running a really great deal for both of these tournaments. 10 games, $500, Get a hold of us at 314-852-4398 or live stream STL@outlook.com. That's 10, 12 games basically for $500. It's basically a whole tournament. And we're going to run that same deal throughout Christmas. So if you're an advertiser and you want to jump in before Christmas and say, yeah, I want to spread that out throughout the basketball season, you can do that. It's $50 a game for 10 games. So as we move to our second segment here, Jeff Whitener, take it away, my friend.
Well, Ray, we appreciate everybody watching tonight. We certainly appreciate these coaches being on. And before we left to a commercial break, we talked about Coach Winkler, and he alluded to the fact that he had coached at St. Vincent boys down there, and his assistant was a friend of the show and current head coach of the St. Vincent boys, Mr. Bruce Valeroy.
Yeah, we know that guy.
Many people, if not everyone watching, are familiar with Mr. Valeroy on the sidelines for the Indians, and how I guess you could say Bruce is very animated, very vocal. And very, very humorous.
Yes.
Sometimes he means to be, sometimes he doesn't mean to be.
Right.
But Coach, tell us some of your experience in working with Bruce, and maybe tell us a good Bruce Valeroy story.
Well, you said, I can't remember which evening, you said maybe a late night if I get started on here. Probably this is one that happened when he was the head football coach at St. Vincent. And, Bruce has been the head football coach, head boys basketball coach, and head baseball too,
and athletic director.
And athletic director, yeah. So he's worn many hats there. This is when he was the head football coach, and he was watching film on a Monday evening, I think, in the school library. And as athletic director, when I was there, I was at school for one reason or another, and I saw him in there watching the film, so I went in there with him, and. They would play Chaffee that Friday before. I can remember that like it was just yesterday. And we were watching for 5 minutes, and he goes, okay, here comes a play that there should have been a clip. We used to call it clip. I think now they call it illegal block in the back, but we called it a clip. So he runs the play, and I said, hey, run that back. And he said, oh, did you see it too? And I said, well, just run it back. And I started laughing so hard because Bruce, it's like he was on fire. He stopped, he dropped, and he rolled. When he didn't get that flag, he was pleading with the official. He said no, and he just dropped, and he rolled right back up to his feet. And I was just laughing so hard. I mean, just, you think he's animated on the sideline in basketball. In football, he's got that nice soft grass, even more so. But Bruce is a great guy. I mean, he
really is, and we certainly enjoy anytime we get to work with Bruce. He's actually joined us on the air. He did some color commentary for baseball for us for Perryville versus St. Vincent baseball.
He sure did,
and that was a hoot. You know,
I'm sure it was.
It brings to an interesting follow-up question. Talking about Bruce, we're talking so far this year. We've had all kinds of restrictions on attendance at games for a lot of places. Some places more than others, and different types of rules. How is that going to affect your coaching technique when there are times when you need to raise your voice to get your team's attention, and maybe chew on somebody who's not doing what they're supposed to? How is that going to affect your strategy this year, guys? We'll start with Coach Winkler.
Well, we played 3 games, and I don't think it's really affected me so far. When I was a younger coach, I did a lot more chewing out loud than what I do now. My girls don't believe that. They can't believe that I used to be a crazy man.
Yep.
But I've settled down a lot, so my coaching it's really not going to change much because of the quieter surroundings. I'll still raise my voice, like you said, to get their attention, and I'll still emphasize something, but I'm not nearly as chewing as I used to be.
Right. Coach McFarland, are you consciously aware of that when you're on the sidelines coaching, that your voice might be carrying more?
Well, I don't know that I'm aware of it until it happens. You get in the gym sometimes and there's not many people there, and the first time you go to holler, and some gyms will echo more than others.
That's true.
But along with Coach Winkler, I'm a little calmer these days than I was 35, 40 years ago. I hope. My biggest concern right now is when I go to the locker room at halftime, or if I happen to kick a trash can or something, will they hear it upstairs?
That's a really
Before that wasn't an issue. But
what about you, Coach Jones?
I've been recently accused by some former players who have come to some games feeling cheated from the way I approach it now. So I've settled down a lot too over the years, but it's going to be in the eyes. When the eyes get here and they start really squinting, that's me yelling.
Give them that like that dad look.
Yeah.
Again, it's funny because for those of you who don't know, I do the PA and the music down at R7 High School for the games. And I was talking to Coach Breeze last week, and we have a deal set up. And it's much the same as I have with Coach Bone in the Summer and Legion, where if Coach Breeze is going to call a timeout and he needs to chew on his team a little bit, he's just going to look over to me and say, crank that music up as loud as it can so I can drown him out, whatever he's doing on that. Well, I appreciate that answer. And, Bruce, we hope you get to watch this. All good fun, my friend. Scotty, why don't you take us through this next segment, if you would, some of these the questions. This is your forte here, my friend.
We'll just start off with
putting
questions.
pressure
All
on
right. So in the round here, all three of you have coached quite a bit. Have you encountered each other in coaching?
Well, Coach Winkler and I coached boys against each other. I was at Potosi.
How'd that go?
He won all the time.
Well, I'm a little older. I think my Alzheimer's was kicked in. I don't remember all those games back then, but he swears that I won.
Yeah, I still every once in a while, if the weather changes really quick, I can still feel some of those rear end kickings from him. So.
Well, that was back. Since then the conferences have divided into large school and small school. Back then, the MAAA, we had 12 teams, so we've seen each other every year.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Coach Jones?
I've coached against Coach Winkler, I guess, that 1 year.
Yeah,
that he was down there in St. Vincent. Right. And when I got in here and said hi to Coach McFarland, I don't know, about 10 years ago or so, a good coaching buddy of mine had called me and said, "Hey, I can't make it there tonight. Is there any way you can get down to Farmington and get a scouting report for me?" Because I think that's who they were going to be playing in the sectional, back when coaches had to go and take paper pads and take notes and draw plays and videotape and bring it to. So I'd actually scouted one of his teams for a friend who was a coach.
Were you successful?
I thought the scouting report was great. I don't know. You have to ask Coach McFarland. I can't remember.
I don't. That was another long time ago.
Put that in the maybe column.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Jeff.
Talked a little bit about this before as far as how COVID affected the summer and getting to get to know some of your teams and stuff like that, getting to be with the players. We've seen some early tournaments be canceled, obviously the Crystal City tournament, and that got changed around. A lot of coaches like to use those early season tournaments to sort of figure out what they've got, see what needs to be tweaked, get the teams into actual playing shape for the regular conference games and non-conference games and conference games later. Is the cancellation of some of these tournaments, early tournaments, has that affected your philosophies at all, coaching, Coach Jones?
I'm worried on our end on the game conditioning. I mean, you can get after it and practice all you want and run them to death, but it's not a game. And so, we lost the Valley Catholic tournament largely because of us. We were in quarantine the first 2 weeks of the season, so we literally just got all of our practices in to play next week in the Doe Run. So, for me, I think the one thing I've said going into tomorrow's game is got to make sure I substitute as much as I possibly can, and it won't be easy because, we have 12 girls out, and as far as varsity experience, we're not real deep. So, but it's early. Get them in there. Try to keep the girls fresh as best you can in case something is good at the end of the game. But that's going to be an adjustment for me.
Absolutely. Have you thought about that at all, Coach Winkler, as far as?
Well, we lost our first regular season game to Roosevelt to COVID. They're not starting until January.
Right.
But other than that, we've got the end or the 3 games. Now we're in the Don't Run tournament as well.
Right.
We play North County tomorrow evening. So, really there hasn't been that much of an adjustment for us in terms of, losing games and so on. So we're in pretty good shape right now. Game-wise, we played 3 of them, and I think the girls are in decent shape. And so we'll just play them as they come. And like everybody keeps saying, the season can be fluid, so we'll just kind of go with the flow.
And as fans and students of the game, just people who love basketball, we may see some, I don't want to say poor play, but shaky play at times for a while until everybody gets going. But that's okay. I think we are all in agreement with the fact that that's secondary to the fact of letting these kids play and letting them have the chance to compete.
Right.
And Coach McFarland, were you guys scheduled for any preseason?
We were supposed to play in the Fountain City tournament.
Okay, so
and they canceled it. And actually, I like having the early season tournament because you get several games in. Like you say, you don't have a lot of practice time between those games, but
right.
you get a chance to find out what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. Usually, I'd like to have a game before we get into the tournament. Just get, like you say, those preseason jitters out of the way and kind of get calmed down a little bit. But this year, with the COVID and everything, the cancellation of the tournament actually helped us out a little bit. We had some girls that weren't going to have enough practices to play maybe in the first game. We were also having to come in for some extra practices that we didn't have, that we normally wouldn't have had, like on a Saturday morning or Sunday afternoon, to try to get some of them enough practices.
Sure.
So once they canceled the tournament, it kind of, preseason's rough. You got 3 to 4 weeks of just coming to practice and running sprints.
It's a grind. Yeah.
And you're looking forward to those games. So it was nice to be able to give them a weekend off, and let them recoup and come back in with a little fresh attitude and also, while we'd like to have been playing, we're still playing. We played the other night. That's still earlier than we got in our first game last year. So,
well, that's something something to be said for that for sure. It is amazing though, and you guys would see it more than me, obviously, because we talked about it with the football coaches this fall with the guys. You could tell right away when practice started, the guys that sat around and played video games and sat in the house all summer because of COVID, and the guys were actually out working. But at this point in the year, it's interesting to see too, it only takes just a couple of days, whether you're quarantined or whether your whole team isn't able to play. It seems like it only takes a few days to start falling out of that game shape. Mm-hmm. It's amazing how quick that drops off. Yeah. And watching the athlete right now, some of the games that I've seen, you're seeing about midway through the third quarter. Guys, the legs are starting to get shaky and the shots aren't going up, and
see a lot of holding the shorts at the free throw line.
Right. Yeah, that kind of stuff. And I'm hoping, obviously as the season goes on, you hope the guys and gals will get stronger. So I just was wondering about, that philosophy, Scott.
You kind of brought up the fitness aspect. Coaches, how many deep are you running this year?
Well, we're going to have 12 girls on the varsity roster, but we're probably running about 8 deep.
Okay, Coach Winkler?
Maybe 7 or 8, with 2 of those 3 extras being sophomores who got no varsity experience at all last year, and they're smaller girls in terms of physical size. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to be in good shape and stay healthy and stay out of foul troubles, no doubt about that.
Okay. Coach Jones?
We got 12, and I told them all to be ready. Because, well, especially this year, because you never know when you're going to lose a couple.
You're going to need contributions from everyone.
Yeah. Well, right, and with the quarantine, the way that, if it doesn't get your whole team, it's because they got it somewhere else. Everybody needs to be ready to go.
Yeah.
I want to start with Coach McFarland on this. Well, we talked about this a little bit as far as the players coming up and fill the void, but has there anybody so far, whether it was practice or these early games, that you're looking at and you thought, okay, this young lady might have a breakout season for us?
Well, Like I said, the Little Allen girl, Josie, we're expecting big things from her. She's very knowledgeable, and she didn't get to play last year. So we're looking for a big impact from her. Plus, she's a point guard who understands the game. I actually, a couple of years that I got to be retired, coached some AAU, and she played for me, so she knows me, and I know her. And so we're expecting a lot there. And then, like I said, most of my players were freshmen and sophomores last year. So, our top 7 players right now, we'd kind of like to see any of them have a breakout season. They've all stepped up. How far they step, just kind of depends.
Sure, absolutely. Coach Jones, anybody that you're seeing so far?
Yeah, most nights everybody's going to be preparing for our senior Annie Waits and the 2 sophomores that both led us in scoring, and Molly Clemens and Kate Eisenbeis. So I'd have to say, now this girl got a lot of court time, but Abby Edwards is a girl that I would say could catch some people by surprise on certain nights. She's kind of a throwback. She's a girl that actually works on that mid-range jumper. And
little forgotten mid-rangers.
And those are few and far between, but her strength is really at that 10 to 15 and an actual jumper, an actual pull-up jumper, correct form. I love it when she does it, and she's doing it in practice. So hope to see a whole bunch of those out of her this year in the ball games.
There's a lot of nights on the defenses on the floor. That's the perfect place to be. That's like finding the seam in football. Yep. Because nobody guards that.
They're either guarding the bucket or the free throw line.
Or the perimeter.
Everything else is open.
Yep. Yeah, it's Coach Winkler, or anybody that you think, hey, we might really have lightning in a bottle here?
Well, I guess kind of the obvious one is Annabelle Wakeland. She had a great game Thursday night against Oak Ridge. She had 22 points, 18 boards, and 8 blocks.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
But first 2 games against Cuba and Steelville, two very, very good teams, they pretty much shut her down. So we're hoping that when we play some tougher teams that Annabelle can step up and be more of a contributor, more like she was Thursday night versus Oak Ridge.
Sure. We definitely saw flashes of her ability last year.
Remember that name very much last year. And Annie Waits, too.
Oh, yeah. We know Annie. Obviously, Brian's friend of the show. And just know Annie from her volleyball prowess as well. Scott, go ahead and fire one at him here.
All right. You kind of talked about some up-and-comers. Who is your assistant coach who is your general on the court? Who do you look to and you're like, okay, I need this play, I need it run, this is a critical situation? Who are you looking to? We'll start with Coach Winkler.
I'd have to say it's Natalie Moore for us, even though she's kind of our second point guard. When our point guard steps off the floor, Molly Gerhardt, when Molly steps off the floor, then Natalie assumes that role. But even when they're both on the floor, Natalie is still the floor leader. And she's the one that she's got her fingers on the pulse of the team, so to speak.
So will she be the one to take the shot, or will she be the one to find the person to take the shot?
She'll be the one to find the person to take the shot. Now, there'll be times where it'll be her turn, but for the most part, she'll be the one to distribute the ball to who we're wanting the ball to get distributed to. Okay.
Coach McFarland?
Well, coming into last year, we had no returning point guard, so to speak. No, Abby was our leader on the floor, but she didn't want any part of being the point guard. We made her a few times. So this year, with everything that Tristan Falk had to endure last year, becoming the point guard, and with Josie Allen coming in, I've got 2 leaders out there right now playing out front that I feel good about either one of them taking charge. The girls look up to both of them. Of course, Tristan's a senior, so she gets that respect of being the senior, and Josie's just a gym rat that she's the one that calls everybody and says, "Hey, what are you doing? Let's go down to the park and shoot some hoops."
Love that characteristic.
So we've got 2 girls right there that I think can go out and run things for us and kind of, I guess I don't know if anybody understands me, but they kind of understand what I'm looking for.
They can
maybe
interpret,
a little bit more
interpret
than
what you,
yeah,
what you're
a little
telling
bit more than some of the others, maybe.
Okay, and you talked about her last year maybe having to assume a role that she didn't want to, but that probably helped her as far as understanding different roles on the floor.
Right, and the good thing this year is she's able to look for her shot a little bit more. You know, last year she was so overwhelmed with trying to get us into the offense and making sure people were doing what they getting where they should be.
Taking care of the ball.
I couldn't hardly get her to look for a shot. You know, I'd say, hey, you had this shot here, and she's like,
but I'm thinking about this.
But now, you know, again, that was one of the first things we seen was she'll take a shot more than she would last year, you know, and that's just, you know, being more comfortable and more at ease.
And developing. Cool. All right, Coach Jones, who are you leaning on out there?
Well, I heard your question, and it's kind of a two-part question for me. My coach on the floor is Annie Waits, 4-year varsity starter. She knows everything we do, and she has a high basketball IQ. So if there's something not going on right, she can get it cleared up, and the girls look to her for that.
Now, does she have your stare?
She's getting there.
Okay.
She's getting there, yeah. But, you know, you're talking about who's that kid that is going to score the bucket for you. You know, Annie could be that girl too. But Molly Clemens and Kate Eisenbeis are both sophomores this year, and those two are gonna score some points.
How many more Eisenbeises are coming up through the chain with all these different schools?
They're like gremlins. You pour water on them and they multiply.
Feed them after midnight.
Yeah, there's still Eisenbeises down underneath under junior high. They'll be there when I'm gone.
Between R7, Herky, and Crystal City, you know, it's amazing how many Eisenbeises we've had come through.
Correct.
Well, gentlemen, obviously all of you have we've established already a lot of you have a lot of coaching presence, a lot of coaching experience, pardon me, and at least one of you from 1979, as we talked about ad nauseum.
There it is again.
Oh, we mentioned that. Oh, yeah, I forgot we did.
Yeah, we did mention that. And obviously you change over the year as you mature, your style matures and develop. You may have more patience, you may not get as loud and as animated or however. But when you're talking about measuring success at this point, in all these years that you did, obviously everybody wants to win, everybody wants to be successful. Ken, when you approach the season, how do you measure success? What does success look like for you?
Well, how much better are we at the end of the year than when we started? That's always something I look at. Did we improve from day one to what it ended like? I'm a big goal setter. I love talking to the kids about goals and attainable goals. Not every year you're going to be a state championship team, and very few and far between. But let's set some goals. Let's set attainable goals, and let's see where we get at that. And you know, it's worked well for us. This team this year, we're going to be wanting to compete all the way through districts again, and maybe see if we can get a little bit farther. I tell you, it's going to be interesting to find out. I mean, we're all waiting for this Friday to see what districts looks like. So
no idea at this point.
But are we better than we started? How much better? And did we hit the goals that we talked about?
That's a fair enough answer right there, Coach Winkler. What do you think? You're nodding in agreement.
Well, Jeff, kind of what you said. You know, we all want to have success because of all the time you put into it. You know, right. You want to get your fair share of wins, but that's not always possible, like Coach Jones just said. And I agree with him as far as you know, what you started with and what your end product is. And I like to look at it. I guess I don't know. Maybe it was John Wooden who said this. I'm not sure, but I agree with it. Whoever said it, I agree with him. That and this sounds very cliche-ish, if that's a word. But what they grow up to be like is a goal that I think we all probably have. You know, that they grow up to be good, productive citizens. You know, so. It's hard to say, was that a successful season? Well, it may have been in terms of wins and losses or improvement. But then you sit back years later and look and say, that was a very successful year because we got great moms out of it or dads when we were coaching boys.
Right.
You've got a lawyer, a doctor, you know, what have you, you know, or just good people.
And to know that some of the lessons that you imparted on the court transfer over to life as well.
Right.
And probably help them achieve what the, you know,
right. I mean, you know, I've had kids in the past come back to me and say, it's because of something you said or did that when I was struggling in college or what have you, I thought back to it. Okay, here's what Coach said this, we were struggling. I need to apply it now. And that's, I think we all know that's, when you have a kid say that to you, that makes it all worth it. No matter how many times you had parents call you in the middle of the night complaining about playing time or this or that or the other thing, when you got a kid say that to you, you think, wow, that's what it's
the
all
kind
about.
of stuff that keeps pulling you back.
Right,
in,
exactly.
Right?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So, we want to win, we want to improve, but, looking back over the years, when you get something like that, to me, that's what says success.
That's awesome. Coach McFarland, any thoughts to add to those two?
Well, of course, you bring me in here third. They've already hit on
They've already sounded really great, yeah.
Cherry picked all the good ones.
Back in the day of school, I'd just say what he said. Along those same lines, like you say, everybody wants to win, but winning's not the bottom line. I always tell my kids, I said, I want you to have fun. I want you to enjoy playing basketball. That's why
it's a game.
We don't come in 7 days a week. I give them time off. They know that unless we're playing on Saturday, they don't have to come to basketball on Saturday. They can schedule whatever they want, whatever they want to do with their parents. And Sundays, we're only going to come in if we're playing on Monday, And so I don't want them fretting over, I want to go play a little select volleyball on Sunday, but it's basketball season, basketball coach. We don't do that. I say I want you to have fun. I don't want any of my players to ever look back and say, man, I wish I hadn't wasted my time playing basketball in high school.
Right.
Because we don't send very many girls basketball players to the college level.
Right.
There's some that get to go. But we have a lot more players that are out there playing, and like you say, we're teaching them lessons of life and giving them something else rather than a college scholarship. So I want them to have fun. I want them to look back and enjoy the time they have. I tell them we want to have fun. And winning's more fun than losing, so we're going to try to win. And as long as they play hard, I try not to. I know they don't believe it, but I try not to holler at them when they make a mistake because they're going to make mistakes. Basketball's too fast a game, too many things going on. If we keep making that mistake over and over, then we got to do something about it.
Right.
But if you just go out and make a mistake, learn from it and move on. And
it's not checkers. You can't sit there and think about it for 5 minutes.
Right. And
you got to move on quickly.
Yeah.
Coaching girls and coaching boys is a little different. Not that I didn't have fun with the boys, but the girls appreciate things a little bit more.
I agree.
I bring cupcakes when they have a birthday. While we're in practice, I bring cupcakes to practice for after practice for them for their birthday. Boys, they wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But the girls appreciate it,
Hey, we'd sneak in there for those cupcakes.
Even though a couple of them won't eat them because they got sweets in them. But
Can I add something to what Coach just said there? The two biggest things between coaching boys and girls, I think, naturally the speed of play, and with girls, the huddle smells a whole lot better.
My ex-coach, Coach Bradley down at Central and coached at Mac for years. That's what he said. He said the difference between coaching boys and girls is the huddle smells a whole lot better.
That's awesome.
I do have a follow-up question that kind of leads into this. With this vast knowledge that we have here on the panel tonight, gentlemen, since you guys started out, has the game changed and evolved over time, or is it still basically the same? Have the players changed over time? Are they basically the same with the same concerns, or have the parents changed over time? And obviously, this is could be a delicate subject in a lot of ways. So, but I want to say that
subject for some, I'm sure,
tactfully as possible. Coach McFarland, your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know that the parents have changed as much. You've always had parents who maybe were good players and they pushed their kids to try to be the player they were, or that's just, I think you've always had that. I think one of the biggest things is the kids are expected to play year-round now. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't have that. You know, you got 2 weeks in the summer that the coach could have camp, and that was it. You know, the rest of it, you was on the playground or, you know, there wasn't even such a thing as an open gym. So, you know, that's probably the biggest thing. You got kids that are, I don't know if you want to say specializing, but they're putting in a lot more time. You know, parents are running them up and down. Well, of course, you guys live in the city. I don't. But they're running up and down to the city and to select teams. And so they put in a lot more. They get a lot more exposure. That's one of the reasons I want them to have fun because, you know, I don't know how much time they're putting in that's a drag, you know.
Sure.
Riding up and down the highway and that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Now, as far as the game, you know, when I started, we didn't have a three-point line. So that's changed.
Coach Winkler, what about you?
What he said.
Excellent job.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, the three-point line definitely changed. And I'm still adjusting to it as a coach. I think I was maybe my second, third, or fourth year when it came in. And I'm still learning things about it, you know, how to use it and so on. But you know, like Coach said, back when I started, when I was a player, you know, we just had that 2 weeks with them in the summer, and that's it. I mean, they could go, you know, to a college camp or what have you, but, you know, you could just have 2 weeks with them. And, you know, now it's as much time as you want, you know. And some kids want that extra time, and some kids want to go to volleyball camp or, you know, what other type camps. So, you know, you're really walking a fine line there to try to provide kids who want that extra coaching during the summer, to give it to them, but not push it on the kids who want to not specialize.
And do other things.
And make them not feel penalized, you know.
Right.
If they, you know, I used to tell my kids in the summer, they'd say, Coach, you know, we got summer league game tomorrow and we've got a volleyball game tomorrow. What should we do? And I said, well, you know, if volleyball's got 12 girls and we've got 6, come to basketball. If we've got 12 and they got 6, go to volleyball.
Right.
You know, do what you think you need to do, you know. It'll be fine as long as you're doing something.
Yeah, that's the important thing. Not sitting on the couch.
Besides going to the mall and walking around.
Yeah.
I don't think they do that anymore.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any. Anyway, Coach Jones, you've had a moment to think about this.
If I to be different from them and slightly would be, I would say technology and social media has changed, especially in my 20 years. Talking about, you know, like when I went and scouted a game, I mean, I still do it a little bit just because some things I want to see live. But, you know, by the time we play Grandview, especially in the conference game, I could have 10 videos of him, of games in complete entirety sent to me in my office at school. So that, you know, that's changed a lot, and well,
not just game films. You can go on live stream STL and watch all the archive games.
Right. I mean, it's every
shameless plug.
Yeah,
I'd throw that in there.
Right. And then social media, and some good, some bad. Right, you know, there are a lot of good things with it, and hopefully that keeps trending upward.
Right. I do have a post in here from Jason Jarvis. This is Coach Jones has been doing this a long time. So there you have it.
Yeah, we were young when we started.
See, the social, the technology and stuff, you know, that has changed, but it doesn't affect me too much because I'm not very literate when it comes to technology. I still try to go to the games and watch all of them.
Right.
I know we've got the huddle, but no one's taught me how to use it yet.
Yeah, that's been a big new thing the last couple of years. Every time we walk in, we come in, and everybody's got the huddle camera now, and that's always a cool little tool that a lot of coaches and a lot of teams are using for like highlight reels and things like that. So
well, and as you said, the technology is great and it's advanced and everything, but sometimes there's really no substitute for going to that game in person and really getting the feel. There's some intangibles there that you can't get just by watching a film or using any other type of technology or metrics. You know, it's got to be a combination of all of them, I would think, to be successful.
Unless you see Valroy stopping, dropping, and rolling.
That's right.
And just rewind. Just to keep
I don't know.
reminded.
I worry about it because one time last year, I don't know what button I hit, but they called me the next day and said, "Do you know where your laptop is?" And I said, "Well, it's at home on my kitchen table." And they said, "No, it's showing up that it's in California." I guess somebody had hacked me somewhere or something.
Oh, goodness.
So I'm always scared that I'm going to hit the wrong button or send something somewhere. Shouldn't. If you get something from me you weren't expecting, you know what happened.
Same.
Well, Mr. Lotta, do you have some questions, some words of wisdom you'd like to throw in here?
I do actually have an audible here, if I could.
Go for
It's
it.
calling an audible.
All right.
Omaha.
All of you coaches have quite a bit of extensive coaching experience. As far as like grooming a disciple or an apprentice to your position, what do you look for as a complementary piece to your coaching? Coach, excuse me. Choked up there, yeah.
Okay.
I started to say Coach Steve. I was like, Coach
fine.
McFarland.
Usually I tell my coaches, like in practice, I want them to coach. I'll set up the practice plan. I'll give them some time on with their group or whatever, but like with the girls, and especially since I've been at Festus, our numbers haven't been so great that we have separate practices between the varsity and JV. So we're in the gym together. And when we're running a drill, I'll direct the drill, and all they have to do is coach. They see somebody not using proper form or doing something, just pull them over, show them, and step up like that and take some initiative, And if they'll take some initiative, and I tell them, everything I do is not the holy grail or anything. There's lots of ways to do different things, and there's lots of different drills. And my assistant coach now, she gets on the internet. She's going to do some rebounding. She'll find a couple of drills that I've never run, and I like that. I like that she takes the initiative and jumps in there. So I guess I'm looking for somebody
Outside
grab
of
the
the
bull
box.
by the horns. And
Okay. All right. Coach Jones, do you have a mini-me or someone that, something that you look for?
I've been trying to get one for a few years now. So
I was going to say, when he asked that question, the first thing you look for, like somebody with a pulse.
Yeah.
Somebody with a body.
And you get a good one, you're gonna lose them.
Sure.
Because they're hungry and they're trying to advance and go on in their career and that. But and I use Coach Jarvis, who I know is on you guys' show all the time. I've had different assistant coaches, a lot of them in 20 years. So I would find out what I thought they were really good at, and then I would kind of exploit that a little bit. Now Jason was one that I really valued a lot, what he said that when during games, okay? Because he, during my game, was really watching the game and was calm and was really watching our girls and where the problems were. Sometimes your assistant coach gets wrapped up in everything that's going on that you're getting wrapped up in. He didn't do that, But and so that was a big value for me.
So looking for someone to actually complement what you were doing.
Sure. But in the game, and a lot of times I'd say, hey, could you keep an eye on this, and this in the game, because I may struggle with it because of other things, And then I've had two young ones here in my last 5-6 years, and they've been huge assets with the technology of the game and getting the games onto the huddle and where I could watch them at my house and on my phone and getting things from other schools and doing a lot of nice things for the kids too with technology. So, and that's been a big asset for me. But if you're coming in, you need to have a lot of energy, and you need to have some time. That's the thing I think a lot of coaches, think they're going to go into basketball and don't realize it's the longest season of a school year. It's through the holidays, and we're going to be in the gym around Thanksgiving, around Christmas, and the New Year. Can you be there? So.
I have a post here from Riley Blair also saying, for all three of you coaches, lots of great basketball knowledge at the table here. Good luck to you guys this year. So that's from Riley.
Did he get teed up again tonight?
No, he did not get teed up again tonight.
Oh, did you guys tell these coaches we're changing the name of the Doe Run Classic?
Yeah, we're going to call it the Riley Blair Technical Classic. So we have a new name for it now, and it's going to be quite interesting going into
silhouette
that
particular. Of him and some of the artwork. And some,
it's going to be interesting going into that tournament Wednesday and Friday for us, especially with having Jim Powers come to call the game.
And you guys, whenever you guys see him, you guys got to give him trouble for that. All right, Coach Winkler, you want to go ahead and chime in with your 2 cents on what you look for in an assistant coach?
Well, right now my current assistant, Rachel Schreier, is pretty much a definition of what I want. I mean, she, kind of like what Coach was saying with Coach Jarvis. I'm watching the overall picture, so to speak, and she focuses in on little things. And, she'll, when play stops, she'll go over to somebody and say, here's what you did, but here's what you should have done, or things like that. So she's doing a real good job of picking out little things, like I said, when I'm looking at the overall picture. But I'll tell you, the guy who was a really good assistant for me, Bruce Valero. I'm not kidding you. Bruce, just like you were saying about Coach Jarvis, Coach Jones, that during a game, varsity game, when he was my assistant, he didn't say a word except something to me that said, so-and-so's getting tired, or so-and-so didn't, they're not boxing out very well, or whatever it may be. He would see those little things, and lots of times he would take notes, and we'd go in the locker room at halftime, and I knew he'd always have something, and I always addressed everything because I knew if he put it down, it was something that needed to be addressed.
Was it on a note card with a little pencil?
Well, probably keeps his fouls. But lots of times I had to say, "Can you read that for me?"
What is this?
I can remember one time who we were playing. I don't know, but I said, "Start match." We were playing a zone. I said, "We need to go man. Start matching them up for me." So he hands me a little piece of paper about the size you're talking, Coach. And I started, "Joey, you've got. I can't read this. You read it." His handwriting is not the best in the world, but he was a very, very good assistant. And like I said, my current assistant, Rachel Schreier, is following in his footsteps without even realizing it.
And that's got to give you quite a bit of peace of mind to have that in your back pocket.
Oh, no doubt that somebody you can rely on. What they're going to say is important.
One less thing on your plate.
Exactly.
All right, Jeff.
Scott, well, I'm struck in listening to the coaches' answers here, how they obviously have coached for a long time, but with their assistants, they're looking for someone not only to complement what they do, but also whether it's bringing in the new ideas, whether it's technology, whether it's some of the research that they're finding and bringing in some of that new, fresh stuff. And even though they're veteran, they've been doing this for a long, they're not opposed to that. They're welcoming
You're
that.
never too old to learn.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, and speaking for myself, there's things that I've done in the past that I've forgotten about.
Yes.
I mean,
that's mine.
I have binders with drills and stuff in it that, and I've got lists of game drills and game schedules, but I have to go back sometimes and look up that drill and say, hey, well, you know what? When I had this team, we did this. How did we do that? And I have to go back and look it up, So there are some of those things that we just forget about. So having somebody, like you say, that can come in with a new idea or say, do you know a drill that would do this? And then kind of remind you, let's look this up here.
Yeah, I literally said that to Coach Schreier last week, I believe it was. I'm glad you're here because you've taught me a few things and you've reminded me of so many things I've forgotten.
My dad attends most of my games, and probably this sounds bad, but probably about 15 years ago when I had my good teams at Farmington, we were going to state and winning district. And one year we were talking about something, and my nephew who coaches, he said, "Are you going to the coaching clinic up at Columbia, next month?" And my dad's like, "How long have you been coaching? Why do you need to go to a coaching clinic?" I said, "Dad, they just remind you about stuff. If you, like they always say, if you can go to a coaching clinic and come back with one thing that you can use."
That's right.
And a lot of times, like I say, I went to a lot of them, but a lot of times now they just remind me, oh, yeah, I remember when we used to do that, or we used, you know.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sky, we've had some really excellent, insightful answers from these coaches tonight.
Veteran coaches.
Experienced.
Veteran coaches, and one of them started coaching when I was a sophomore in high school. But anyway, we don't want to talk about what year that was because I think we've beaten that horse to death by now. But
I think I was 7 when one of these guys started coaching.
Before we get out of here, guys, we have a tradition. And the tradition is we call this the Ray question. This is just something because we always want to end on a different fun note. And this we've had to modify this question a little bit with COVID. We'll go ahead and take it over to Ray now and let him ask the final question.
Yeah. So the Ray question is COVID-based here, obviously with the break and a lot of home time and things like that, probably up until basketball season started here for most of you guys. Is there a hobby or something that you've taken up during this time to help either A, pass the time by, or B, keep you from going insane?
Any special things that you took up, projects around the house, new things you wanted to learn, stuff like that?
Well, when I retired the first time.
I
think it was the first time. I actually opened a wood shop.
Oh, wow.
And I build wood projects. Ladies see stuff on Pinterest, and they send me a thing and picture and say, can you make this? And I say, well, somebody did. I probably can. And I'll usually tell them, give me 2 weeks, and we'll see what we can get.
See, who says he doesn't know about the socials? He's talking Pinterest right here.
No, I don't do Pinterest. They tell me they see. But with the COVID, I got a lot more time to work in my shop. When basketball started last year and I took this job, I had 2 or 3 projects people had asked me about, and I was like, not till March. It'll be March before I do anything else in the shop. So, of course, just about the time basketball ended was when they shut everything down. And so I spent a lot more time in the shop, eat a lot more sawdust.
Well, that sounds like a good time, actually.
High in carbs, probably.
Yeah. Who do you want to ask that one next, Roy?
Go ahead there, Tim.
He's all involved over there.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been coaching for the last few years, so really nothing changed for me. Watch soap operas, walk my dogs,
you have
eat too much, so really nothing changed for me.
Hobbies or interests outside of basketball? Any stupid human tricks or something like that? Any hidden talents that?
No, not really. I just, like I said, it was pretty much the same, other than didn't get to go out to eat as much.
Right.
But other than that, it was pretty much the same lifestyle. When I was sitting and waiting for basketball opportunity to coach rolled around, whether it be during COVID or the previous years, really nothing to change that much. So,
all right.
I'm a pretty boring guy.
All right. Well, once again, Ken, you've had plenty of opportunity to think about this here, prepare for this question. So,
I'm a busybody, so sitting around the house is not something I do. So I redid my whole entire home on the outside.
New siding?
I redid all the siding, all the soffit, all the fascia. Did it all.
You did it yourself?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I'm down.
Wow.
I've still got about 10% left to go, but I did it all myself, and then got in a lot more hunting and fishing, and I that's where I'm heading when my basketball days are over. And
bow, rifle,
everything. Got out a lot with my buddies Eric Allen and Ryan Casson, hunting and fishing. 2 ADs that are out there, and we shot at some stuff and tried to put hooks in things. So.
The coach of the JC Blazers this summer,
Kudelik
baseball team, Aaron Kudelik, he took a 2-week COVID quarantine down at Lake of the Ozarks and fished every day.
Sure did.
So that he said he was under quarantine.
They called me a couple times from the lake, probably off the boat.
That's right.
How's my guys doing?
Yeah. So that was pretty interesting. So
I feel lazy sitting in between these 2 guys. What they did, I feel pretty lazy.
They might be able to start a little contractor business on the side or something. You never know. That's funny. Well, I tell you what, it's been an absolute joy, Scott, to have these guys on the panel tonight, Coach McFarland, Coach Winkler, and Coach Jones, and we certainly appreciate you taking the time tonight. I'm sure you guys are all preparing now, at least you guys, for the tournament. And when is your next game, Coach?
We play Oakville Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
We're going to play them at home, though.
Oh, okay.
It was scheduled.
It was supposed to be at Oakville,
It was supposed to be at Oakville because of the different restrictions and all. They're going to come down to our place.
Okay.
I think in the county, they're having to wear masks while they play.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're going to come down to our place, and so we can.
Excellent.
Be another home game for us.
And you guys will be preparing for the Doe Run Classic.
All right. Good luck to everybody this week.
Thank you. Good luck to all, and thank you so much for being on. And we obviously will catch up with you guys during the season as we come and do your games and stuff like that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take us out, Ray.
Well, thank you so much for watching Main Street Sports tonight. And don't forget, if you haven't gotten the TKDS Sports Network app, go out to the App Store on Google Play and the Apple Store. We're also on Amazon Fire TV. Check that out, and on the Roku channel as well. Go sign up over at the TKDS Sports Network on Google Play and the App Store and Apple Store.
We'll explain to Coach McFarland what all this
yeah,
stuff
we'll
is.
do that.
You might have to write it down.
We'll get you hooked up.
Go over there to videos.tkdssports.com/livestream STL. You will get that for the month of December for free. And we're giving that away for Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all.
And the reason why we had to move over this, just so you guys know, you mentioned something about cybersecurity, and that's kind of what happened to us. We've had some folks try to hack and whack our live streams, and they're trying to sell it overseas. So, long story short, we've had to kind of pull it off there. And
well, I'm glad you're pulling it off. I don't want my picture coming up over in China.
You know, and it is security for the kids too. That was my main. I know you're laughing about that, but no joke. No joke.
That's where it's coming from.
It's security for the kids, and I'd hate to see any crazy, weird thing happen because somebody saw one of our kids out there, and so we're not, we want to be, safe and aware of that, and at the same time, sensitive to that. So that's kind of where it's at. So again, if you're checking that out, get the TKDS Sports app, Fire TV, Roku channel, all at the proper places. You go over to videos.tkdssports.com/livestream STL, and we also have a support line over there. If you have any problems with support, we've got plenty of folks that can help with that. It's under the support part under tkdssports.com. So there you have it. There you are. Thanks so much for watching Main Street Sports tonight, and appreciate having all of our guys on. And we'll be over tomorrow over at Hillsboro for the Steig Horse tournament. So we will see you over there at 4:45 and 6:45 to cover that. Ray Halbrook, Jeff Whitener, Scott Latta, all of us here at Livestream STL, we're going to say so long. Have a great day.